Hey, and today we have with me a special guest. His name is Omar, also the person behind ARCHEtea on Instagram. So, hi Omar, how are
Hey
you?
Gabriel, how are you? Thank you for having me here.
Not a problem. For those who do not know you and would like to know about you, could you just share a bit more about yourself, like your background and what do you do? And
Sure
yeah,
thing. I'm gonna remind you guys, my name is Omar. I'm an architectural engineer. I spent more than half of my life in the Gulf region. I graduated from the University of Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. If you don't know Sharjah, then you'll definitely know about Dubai. It's like 15 minutes away from the university. Uh, I just uh, I was just hired as an architectural inspector in a company in Riyadh, so I had to move countries basically. And I'm the founder of Architee, which is uh, ed- architectural education and entertainment blog on Instagram.
I like how you say entertainment and
Yeah,
education. Yeah, I mean, I think the two of us have quite similar experiences and journeys. I think you mentioned me before the recording that yeah, we do have a content creation side of our lives
yeah.
and also the professional practice side of our own journeys. I just wanted to know about how was your experiences and is there anything you want to start off with the content creation journey you'd like to share with us about?
I mean, I've been a huge fan of entertainment and everything. Basically, I listen to lots of podcasts. I watch TV a lot. I watch everything that has to do with entertainment. So I had this side which is away from architecture in a way, and then I wanted to combine both things at the same time. I wanted to explore that because as much as I love architecture, I believe I have lots of creativity, so I wanted to put it out there and just combine the two. Architect came as a solution to my frustration. As I graduated the architecture school, I was going to the UK for a master's degree actually, but unfortunately it did not work. So during that summer and a month or two more, I had zero contact with architecture. So I thought to myself, I want to have this blog where I keep myself learning and at the same time I'll be disciplined with it because I'll have followers who want to see content. So I'll keep on learning while producing. And then it spiraled to what it is right now. I mean, I post varying content basically, IGTV videos, site visits, illustrations, tips and tricks, some about my experience during architectural school and post graduation and so on.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how you actually started ARCHEtea. It's quite similar to mine. I feel that for ARCHLOGBOOK, for myself, what actually inspired me to start was actually having the opportunity to share what I've learned. And also I agree with you that you actually, while you share, right, you actually learn something. You actually reinforce that
Yes.
learning. And I think that's very critical, especially if you want to be like a thought leader in a space, especially now in a very crowded social media environment. And there's a lot of young architects in the world. Uh, being a content creator, I would say actually differentiates ourselves from the rest and also gives you a step up in a sense. Also about being like having two lives
Yeah.
and also trying to find a way to merge
Yeah.
it, right? I also can actually relate to that because I also feel that I like to process information. I like how is it easy to make information very accessible. Also to create graphics that are super. Sometimes the picture speaks 1,000 words.
Yeah.
So actually, when you see like building codes and when you see certain guidelines, right, it's really a lot of words, right? And I try my best to actually I find joy in actually condensing it into like a graphic that can explain it so much better than reading like a chunk of words. So that was actually got me interested in like creating like Instagram style posts just to explain a certain concept for like a building regulation or even like a technical detail.
Yeah.
So that actually got me inspired. So it kind of merges my two sets as well. Like trying like wanting to share and like make an impact in the world in any small way I can. I mean, initially it wasn't like I want to create an impact in the world. It was more like a curiosity in my mind that I feel that I have some free time,
Yeah,
after work, and I can actually I've learned so much, and I realized that there's a gap between practice and education, right? You learn so
oof,
much more, and there's so much more
it
to discover.
is. It
So
is a huge gap.
yeah, so I felt that uh, what maybe myself in like maybe 3 years ago, maybe 20-year-old Gabriel can actually appreciate more if somebody older could actually share it with him, all the different things that could be like taught in
Yeah.
school, or maybe like in a better way. So that got me inspired, and yeah, I actually can relate to your journey as well.
I mean, you brought up a very important reason why I launched Architect. And this is
Mm,
not to diss anyone, honestly, but I used to follow lots of architecture page, and you just mentioned something. Pictures speaks 1,000 words. And I've seen many who just have a picture that's full of text. Architects are stimulated visually. We don't need to read lots of
mm.
text. Okay, sure, some should be brief to explain what's going on, but I've had these very, very long, full text pictures. So I wanted to do something different. I've fallen to that mistake like a few times, but I've always tried to keep it simple, like the storyline while doing the carousels and so on. And I even remember your page because I really liked it, the ARCHLOGBOOK book, where you've had these very simple, basic design steps. For example, we're speaking of stairs, we're speaking of windows. And I think the reason why your page grew so fast is because you were giving value. People were interested in learning. They were saving the post as quick as possible. Although I don't have insights to your post, but I can imagine that that's why it grew to 20,000 followers, because there is this value behind it. And as you said, content creation give us this outlet that is, okay, I'm away from whatever I'm doing in life. This is something that's really about me and about connecting with other people. And whether it's through social media or you're just networking, I've just met Gabriel, which is great in itself, you know.
You brought up a few points that's very interesting. So firstly, bringing about value, right? Bringing value to your
Yeah,
followers. So I also agree with you that some of the posts that we see about architecture education, especially that we don't talk about lifestyle posts, basically. We talk about education posts, posts that are actually designed to actually teach something to the followers, right? So yeah, I've seen my fair share of wordy
yeah,
posts, and honestly, it doesn't really help. And as architects are actually very visual creatures, we see a lot of schematic like thought processes we talk about. So one of my biggest lessons learned, I think, while generating these type of diagrams, is to understand the process, like from point A to point B as a flow. I actually think about graphical elements like lines and arrows, polylines.
yeah,
So they can, and even like regions, like areas, can actually mean so many things. It can also symbolize a concept. It also can also consider like a plan and section elevation, and you can actually superimpose like certain symbolic graphical elements that can represent like a
yeah,
concept instead of writing it down like in
yeah,
words. So let's say, for example, I think about cause and effect. So if you say cause and effect, this results in this, you can just simply put in like a simple graphic, like maybe like an icon
exactly,
that symbolizes A,
exactly.
an arrow, and then icon B. And the icon can be quite universal. You can actually, most people should understand what like these icons could actually represent. Maybe like a wheelchair uh, accessible, or the icon that you see, the handicap ones. And for example, if you see a light bulb, it's instantly it's about light. So that kind of things,
Fully.
right? So I learned about how to actually represent information uh, well. So I guess that's also one reason why many people did follow me and save my
Yeah,
post. Uh, yeah, that also brought a different kind of dilemma actually. So for myself, I'm not sure if you've seen. So basically, I'm not sure if you've checked out my profile like recently or maybe last year. So I actually deleted some of the posts, most of
yeah,
the posts, not
yeah.
deleted, archived actually, most of the posts, which actually brought me to a different realization, I think, after like maybe the end of last year. I think the first reason why I actually deleted the post, I think not many people know why, because I didn't really explain at
Yeah.
all, was because actually I wanted to kind of reconsolidate the content on the blog instead of the Instagram. And also, I'm also in the midst of creating an ebook.
Yeah.
So I think currently I'm also selling the content on as an ebook, but it's not really packaged in a very good way, but it's quite cheap. So I think if you want to catch all the content, you can actually just click my Instagram bio link and just buy the very affordable compilation of whatever I posted recently.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to, in the background, in the works of creating ebooks that are more detailed and also more packaged well.
I
Yeah. So that's why
I
I actually did
I
everything.
did pass by your website just before we went onto the call, because as you said, all of the sudden you don't have that many posts, and I remember having lots of posts. So, and then I saw the ebook, and I'm someone who ran through this post when you actually published them. So I would actually advise people to go and buy the ebook. It's very informative. Also, you mentioned the icons, and again, back to it. What I didn't mention at the beginning of this interview is that I very recently became an instructor on Udemy. I published a course called Architectural Presentation Skills. And one of the things I instruct is minimize the text. Text should be there to explain very important parts of your presentation. Don't expand too much, because at the end of the day, if we wanted people to read it, then we would send them the poster through email. You are there for a reason as a presenter to speak about this project and tell them all you have to say. And minimizing text, using more pictures, using more visuals, it can save you so much time when you just do a diagram that explains everything, and when your concept and your final product is tied to the concept, so it's easy to read, it's easy to understand. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you mentioned your course, because I wanted to ask you about what inspired you to make the course instead of like spending time on Instagram. Like, I think it's a very interesting avenue of income, and also maybe a different format, like video format. So I think there's a lot of different opportunities and also issues and challenges along the
Yeah.
way creating the course. So share a little bit insight of like what made you inspired to start it, and also maybe like some of the
I
challenges you
mean,
face.
we'll soon bring up the fact that I'm not really enjoying the jobs in architecture. I've had a couple of experiences in different places where I don't feel okay about it. I'm not enjoying it. I feel like I have some passion for teaching. So, and I believe to be a decent presenter myself. So I was like, I have a lot of information. I can condense it into one course. This could be the start of something new for me, because I'm even planning to do like a live workshop. Like, I'll be in a room with students where I teach them this course. I'm actually planning to do it very soon, because I feel like that's more enjoyable for me. When I work on it, it feels like effortless. No matter how much you work on it, you love what you're doing, so it's going to be easy.
It doesn't feel like a work, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't feel like work.
Exactly. And I've missed that feeling since I graduated university. It's just that work, the real world and university are two different things. So the idea came about that I'm good at this. Why wouldn't I teach people? And I've already had experience through Architect for a whole year where I'm filming myself speaking to the camera. So combined with my knowledge, I had a month. I signed up to Udemy and I joined what they call a newcomer challenge, where you have 45 days to complete a course. And if you do that, they'll advertise you for a whole week as a new challenge winner. So you'll get more advertising, basically. I mean, that did not really help me in any way, just to be honest. I'm calling you out, Udemy. But it was lots of hard work. I'll retract a little bit. I had an internship for about 3 months in architecture, and I was offered a job opportunity that was really like a really bad offer. And then when I was willing to accept it, they actually retreated it. They didn't want to offer it anymore. So I was very frustrated. I was very upset. And I had to do something within the next month. I couldn't just sit and do nothing, because I would have gone into depression. I would have been feeling really bad. So I used 45 days to just work on scripting, on visualizing how the course will be taught, all the information that's going to be given. And that really like kept my head above water, basically, in a really rough time. And when I published it, I was genuinely very happy and proud of what I've done. It didn't take off yet. There are a few students. There are about 22 students so far. The reviews have been really great, 5-star reviews. And I would advise anyone who's listening or watching this podcast to go ahead and check the website. I'm sure you'll share it, Gabriel. So yeah, that's really about it. I want to go into education. I'm really interested in that more than just working in an office or on site.
So for myself, I think, thanks for sharing your story. I think it's really interesting to see, to hear about your thought process and like getting, putting your head into it and spending 45 days to get it done and actually getting it done. And like, it's quite inspirational for those people who are listening, students or maybe graduates are listening, who wants to actually explore certain projects of yours, you never had the time to do it. I'm sure myself and Omar will actually encourage you to go for it, definitely. Especially when you're very young, right? And you have time on your hands, you have enough energy to try something new. For myself, I will also advise to do the job, but also have a day job, but also have some time out of the day job to do other things that can actually gives you the energy. And it doesn't feel like work, honestly. Even like ARCHLOGBOOK, I didn't feel that it's a work per se. Like, before I took a hiatus, I think I was still having some time after work to actually to create the post, to do random things like MacCon. I'm not sure you heard my MacCon, Mac Collective, and things like meeting people like yourself, content creators, students. I tried a lot of different things, and I think some worked, some didn't work. But overall, definitely wouldn't regret starting something new. Not really having a good like high expectation. Like I didn't come in to say, oh, I want to do ARCHLOGBOOK, I want to do Instagram that will have 20,000 followers. No, it's more about I want to explore inkling, like something that's inkling, that's something that is on the back of my mind, but having the time to do it and start doing it, right? I think that most is definitely the advice both of us has for those who are listening, like students and graduates.
Yeah, most definitely. And this brings me to something. Okay, I actually forgot what I was about to say.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it about education or content creation?
No, it's about content creation. I just forgot it. Oh God, I'm lagging. It's fine. I just returned from work, actually. I work from 7 till 4, and it's 5:30 right now here. So I am a bit exhausted.
I wouldn't blame you. Yeah, you work on the weekends?
I do work. I just have Fridays off, which is awful. Which brings me back to the idea that I'm not enjoying this too much. But I'm also doing something that will take me to where I want to go, basically. I just remembered, actually. You just mentioned the fact that you did not enter with expectations of reaching this high level or number of followers. You just wanted to explore. And this brings me to the frustration with working specifically in Instagram. Honestly, I had the same. Now I have goals, and I want to mention it to everyone so I can, 10 years later, I'll go back to this podcast and I say, I've done it. Have you ever watched the Netflix show Extraordinary Architecture? It's basically two hosts going around the world and checking buildings and speaking about them and so on. And I'm not sure if you're aware of Conan O'Brien. Have you heard of him? Yep. I'm a huge fan. I cannot appreciate him more. And I've been so inspired by him, honestly. And he has a show called Conan Off Borders, where he travels the world and goes to different places and interact, and he's so funny. It's so effortless for him. So I want to do something similar in terms of architecture. I want to have my own show where I go like around the world to countries and so on. So these are goals that I've set to myself. Now, as you, I entered to explore, but at some point I felt like no matter how much I'm working on architecture, the followers are not growing, or the content is not clicking with people, or maybe during this period of time people are not interested in architecture anyways. Some of us just want to escape for a bit because we work day and night in architecture basically. So I had a really rough period, just very upset with how the page is growing. It was going slow at some point, and Instagram algorithm do not help whatsoever, unfortunately, no matter how much you work for it. So very recently, and this is something for all the content creators who are listening to this conversation, I tried to advertise on Instagram. I thought, why not? I'm going to use $20 or $17 to advertise a certain post. And I chose one, which brings us back to the beginning of the conversation, a post of value. It's 6 words to learn, or 6 words in architectural vocabulary to learn. So people would save it whenever it's advertised, and they know that this page offers value, for example. And it actually moved my page from 500 followers up to 1,100 in a week. That was great. However, when you bring that much people into your page unorganically, you'll find yourself in the next few weeks, after the advertisement is done, that these people don't really have a connection with you. They didn't go through the phases of this page organically. They didn't connect with you. They didn't interact with you. They just saw a post and they followed you. So when I had 500 or 600 people join all of a sudden my page, I felt like I was unable to connect with them, to be honest. So if you want to do an advertisement, just take it slowly, and throughout your journey on Instagram, if you have a platform or you're planning to do something similar, try your best not to think about followers. Do what you're doing best, do your best, try to interact with people, give value, and move on. I struggled so much because I was thinking about numbers for a really long time. And I think I'm not sure, did you struggle throughout your journey in content creation?
I think for myself, at the very first part, because when I think I share with you that I had no expectations, I think differently from like some people. I feel that I myself, I didn't push myself to say I want to have a certain number of followers by a certain time. I think for myself, it's quite lucky because I feel that the content I created, I think most of the people, firstly, I think it's not very common. Like the content I posted, nobody else did it.
Yeah.
I think, like at the point in time, that was like 2 years ago. So that was, I think, was an infancy of like having social media as a platform to share architectural concepts and technical details. So I was actually riding the wave in a sense. So basically, there's a huge influx of many accounts that are sharing this style of content. So I think that was the right time, right place, right time. So I wouldn't beat myself too hard, like especially starting now, right? Now it's also quite saturated. There's so many accounts actually doing what we are doing, and but I would my advice is actually just to keep on seeing ways to provide value. If you can't be the first, be better than the rest. Yeah. So basically, if you are creating content that has been done before, put your own spin to it. Don't follow how people are doing it, and over time, I'm sure the followers actually understand and appreciate the different perspective. So let's say, for example, if someone talking about architectural vocabulary, right? Yeah, there's a lot of different I think there's many different accounts actually trying to say the same thing, like sharing terms and definitions. Yeah. I think it depends what you want to, like, for example, if you're a content creator who wants to actually stand out in terms of education, right? Personally, I try not to do vocabulary anymore, because I realized that this stuff posts can actually is quite common, firstly, and secondly, it's also quite dry. Like, you cannot explain a vocabulary with a lot of diagrams and interesting graphics. It's actually quite like it's basically like a definition, right? So you cannot. It's not easy to do it. So I also need to see the competition firstly, and also maybe like the timing that you post it as well. Yeah, some of the architects I think are also trying video format. So I think that's very successful because most of us are actually pay more attention to videos nowadays, which is what I'm trying to also to explore in the next phase of ARCHLOGBOOK. It's because I think firstly it is easier to create a video and to explain something rather than create the graphic and then not sure whether the content will be successful in bringing value. Secondly, it's also more engaging, like through video.
Most definitely.
And through audio.
I think the fact that that's another thing that I wanted to do differently about my page is I want to let people know that there's a person behind this page that's showing up on camera, just like you did at some point as well, because you did these tutoring sessions with students or architects in general. Whenever there's a person behind this page who's interacting with his followers, then there's a better connection. I actually made lots of friends through my page, who some of them are really close to me right now. So yeah, I feel like you should put yourself out there. You should be different. Sure, it could be like the content is repetitive. It's going to end up being repetitive at some point. But if you can make something different, people will notice that, and they will know that you're producing something special, basically.
Yeah, I think when it speaks from the heart, like it can be different, but also it is you, right? It's your own spin to it, your own story, your own perspective. I think that's very important. Not to just be different just for the sake of being different, especially when you talk about your experiences.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I think just want to shift gears a little bit. So we talked about content creation. We talked about like our own journeys and our own challenges. Just wanted to shift gears towards like using social media as a platform. So like Instagram. Other than Instagram and Udemy, are you interested in, or have you explored other platforms, or what do you think about like TikTok or LinkedIn, YouTube? What's your take on it?
I do use LinkedIn. I mean, it didn't take me anywhere, to be honest, in terms of job search. It's all about networking. Like if your family or your friends know someone at a company, that will get you an interview, because I had no application accepted through LinkedIn, unfortunately. It's just a way to connect with people who you've seen about 5 years ago, just to keep in touch with them later on. In terms of TikTok, I want to work on TikTok. It's just that I'm thinking about it right now. I'm workshopping it, because whatever works for Instagram doesn't work for TikTok. I need to know what really works for it. And actually 2 months ago, I started using TikTok to just see what the content is. I'm pretty late. I'm a boomer.
Yeah, same here. I'm currently still a consumer in that sense. I'm still trying to see what is out there. How do they do it? I'm quite curious about how actually to create the videos in first place.
Exactly. I recorded a draft the other day because I was trying to think of a skit, and I just looked at the camera and I said, I can't believe how cringy I feel and look on camera. This is awful.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the people using it and what are they there for.
100%.
So I guess TikTok is more for entertainment, like also not many of the posts down there are like educational. I mean, there are. I think it's quite interesting because compared to Instagram, like the educational videos on TikTok actually is quite significant, right? It's actually half, I think, in my experience. Yeah, half of it is entertaining, half is educational. Like, so I see a lot of like, self-help or even like mental health
That's
inspirational
great.
kind of videos, which is quite interesting. So yeah, I'm also like you, trying to be a consumer first and see why am I so addicted to
Yeah,
TikTok, and why am I keep swiping up and like following different content creators and see what they
yeah,
do. So I'm still also looking at it, and I think it's also a good opportunity to explore something new. I'm also less inclined to create graphics nowadays because it's so tedious, and you don't know how it's going to work
I
and received by the
I
public.
fully get that. Yeah,
So yeah, and yeah, I think it's an opportunity for us to get off our shell. I mean, initially, I'm also like a bit nervous in front of the camera. I think that was like 1 year ago, and I think ever since MacCon, which is like a
yeah,
convention by the Mac
yeah,
Collective, I think that also brought me out, like the opportunity to step out and to show my face more,
yeah.
to share my views through video and like interview content, and also give me the confidence to actually, try these new formats in the future.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I want to applaud you because you just began on the right, like you're in the right direction. You just started the podcast. You're speaking to me. I'm getting to know you as well, and you spoke to other people. So this will only build up your skills in terms of communication, in terms of being on camera. That's another thing that I teach through Udemy, is that you need to practice. You need to put yourself out there. Otherwise, if you didn't leave your comfort zone, especially in public speaking, you'll never learn. Because 5 years ago, my first presentation at university, I completely froze. I like, to the point where my friend was, because we had a group presentation, he was telling me, Omar,
Mm.
just turn around because what you have to say is actually written on the slide. And I fully froze. So the moment that happened, and I felt the shame and the fear that that occurs when such an embarrassing thing happens, is that I need to work on this more. I need to practice. I need to put myself out there. I'm gonna make mistakes. It's just part of it, and I'm gonna be nervous every single time I'm on camera. I was nervous before calling you, but I started calling it I'm being excited. It's just the nerves of being excited, and you get comfortable once you do it more.
You raised a very interesting and good point. I think you said failure, right? Reframing failure as an excitement, not excitement, as an opportunity to learn,
Exactly.
right? And also like the nerves, right? It's also to reframe it as being excited about something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that each and every person who works in entertainment always says, or in sports. If you ask them in an interview, how did you feel before doing something, they'll tell you, I'm excited. They are nervous. Believe me, everyone gets nervous before performing, but they just learn to channel that mentality that I'm excited for something. It's just the nerves of being excited. And then when I'm on stage, I'm going to feel just fine because I've done this so many times. So, yeah.
Because most of the time that when you feel anxious, it's like our body telling us, we're not comfortable, we've not done this before, we are excited, but we need to get ready to be out of comfort
Yeah.
zone, and part of you will be like, oh, like, I don't want, I want to go back home, I don't want to do this anymore. And part of you is like, I'm excited, but
Fully.
I don't know what to look forward to. So it's a very interesting experience actually. I mean, the more we do things that are out of our comfort zone, right? The more you get used to like the 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 nerves that we usually have. It's very normal as humans to have the
Yeah.
nerves. But I think over time, like maybe for you and I, like both experience trying new things out of our comfort zone, not knowing what to expect,
Exactly.
but actually going through those experiences, like for example, like myself, like doing the convention live for the first time in front of
Yeah.
everybody through a live stream. I can still recall the first time I actually turned on the camera and like started to talk. So that was really, really exciting. But I still remember it was like, could I frame it as a nervousness, but it's a kind of like a positive
Yeah,
nervousness
exactly.
kind
That's
of
what
thing.
you need to have in mind.
And also knowing, yeah, and also knowing at the end of the first convention, I feel that, wow, I felt really happy because I know that my words that I spoke during the convention really touched somebody's life, or gave
Yeah.
value. And the positive feelings that came from experience actually spurred me on to continue like doing the podcast now, or doing videos, and think I will never want to limit myself from these opportunities. Yeah. So for any people, any persons literally listening, who want to actually try new projects, like things they've never done before, and I think firstly is to reframe the word failure. Secondly is to reframe how you feel as like before trying that new thing, that nervousness. Reframe nervousness as excitement.
Exactly.
So that will actually, I'm sure, will help all of us to take a step forward
100%.
and to do it.
Even if
Yeah.
you need to take a step back to work on stuff, just like me and then Gabriel are doing at the moment, you can take a step back and then 1,000 more upfront. So yeah,
Which brought me to a very, very interesting point. I think taking a step back is actually very important as content
oh my
creators.
god,
Yeah, so you just opened a Pandora box.
it is.
So yeah, I have a problem because I feel that a lot of content creators do not know when to stop. And I think I wanted to put it out there that it's perfectly okay to take a break.
Yeah,
Because I see a lot of content creators who are posting every day. I mean, there's two sides of the coin, right? One side of the coins, that some people say that some content creators say that I need to post every day
consistency is key.
about my
Yeah,
life. I need to share everything, maybe one story a day, one post a week. I have to do it. I must do it to keep the followers
yeah,
engaged. My personal opinion, we don't need to share everything every day, and the followers will stay. I mean, if they still find value in your content and they are willing to wait for your content, they will. If they're not, they will leave, which is perfectly fine because, you know. So from my own experience now, so before I started my hiatus,
yeah,
it's at 20K, right? So now I think it's what? No, at the start it was 21K. I think now it's 19.7, which sounds, to me, it's fine.
yeah,
Because I didn't do anything. I didn't post anything. And I explicitly put on my bio that I'm on a hiatus and I'm going to start continuing in 2022.
yeah,
So most of the followers do understand and they do not find any reason to unfollow,
yeah,
which is quite interesting because they do not expect you to post every day, and I don't think they are also having that they don't have enough time to really understand what you're doing every day,
yeah,
right? So, and even in the algorithm of Instagram, they don't show your story to their followers every day as well.
yeah. I mean, I've
Instagram does show periodically your content. It's not that when you post, they're definitely going to see it. Not
yeah,
true. So that's the frustrating part about it. But it also gives you opportunity to say, hey, I can take a step back. I can take a
yeah,
break.
fully.
Because nobody really cares too much
Exactly. I
in that
mean,
sense.
I've learned that a
Yeah.
bit like the hard way. I spoke about this earlier in the call. Well, you're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna feel like you're gonna burn out at some point because it's always labeled as consistency is key. But believe me, Instagram nowadays, especially, is very difficult. It is very difficult for your post to reach anyone. Just like Gabriel said, it doesn't mean that if you posted something on your story that people will view it. It really depends on how Instagram works, and it changes every single day. So going back to mental health, this needs to be said. Do it whenever you feel like doing it. Don't force yourself. I
Mm.
know that some people,
Mm.
this is like a job for them and this is how they make like their income. Totally fine. But if you're someone who's doing it just to explore opportunities and to have fun and to put yourself out there, you don't need to do it every day. Just like Gabriel said as well, not everyone cares, and even if they care, they won't care for your post every single day. Like the most I've done actually was during the ad period about a month ago, where because the
Mm.
ad was about 7 days, I wanted to post for 7 days, and that's the most consistent I've been since the launch of ARCHEtea, which was about a year and a half ago. And it didn't really affect the amount of followers anyways, or the amount of likes, or the amount of comments. It just frustrates you more. So take your time, upload quality content. I feel like whenever we force ourselves to upload daily, it's just, I just want to put a post out there. You don't care about the quality, or you don't care about what the info or value is behind it. So yeah, just take a step back whenever you feel like doing so. Your followers will, if they find value in your work, they will stick around, just like Gabriel said again.
Because some of the accounts that we see are actually curated with other people. But if content is created solely from yourself, like I think for myself, actually, okay, not all. I think maybe I think 80% of the content is by only by me.
Same.
And I think 20% actually in collaboration with other people. And it is very tough to actually, do all the content by yourself and actually queue it and then to post it every single day or every single week. I think for myself, I actually did post it every week for 3 seasons. So what I did is actually, I'm not sure if you anybody has actually observed that I actually post and call it a season. So I actually posted, I think, 20 posts per season, and then I take a break. And then I actually I took a month break from posting. And that actually got me to also be able to evaluate the content that works well and what doesn't work well. So I think what also brought me to like a huge growth in a sense in the followers was actually to understand what people wanted in terms of value.
Fully.
From what I realized, actually, a lot of the content that are very successful is actually those are very, very useful, and also in explained in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the posts, okay, I have a couple of like viral posts that actually got me up so like a lot of followers. I think, like, for example, I did a site planning Instagram series, post series. I think that was very successful because people are sharing it with their own friends. And I think it's also not commonly seen at all. Firstly, it's a new content that nobody has posted. Like, nobody had the chance to consolidate site planning.
True.
Like in a very easy to understand format. Yeah, because I actually did it in a way that one slide is one aspect of site planning, and it overlays one another. And the considerations are also like things that not really mentioned before, like the drainage, landscaping, driveway design. So it's not commonly shared as well. So I think that also got the post to be quite popular as well. So I think in this sense, it's more about this how common is there any competition in that space of in that topic, right? That also is very important. If I think another type of post that was quite good was quite commonly seen as well, but I think I did it better. So basically, I think, for example, the staircase terminologies and the riser height, tread depth, all these terms, these kind of posts are quite simple and easy to do. Basically, like 1 slide, 2 slides. But I think making it super easy to understand, I think that's also making it better than what you see in the other accounts.
Fully.
I think that's also one of the best ways to capture the audience. I think thirdly, I'll also recommend to use like Telegram or email marketing, because Instagram algorithm, like I mentioned before, it only shows the content periodically to the followers. And it is for a good reason, because they want you to use the ads. They want you to pay for ads. They want you to boost your visibility. So they do it like a wave, right? They sometimes maybe give you more followers, and they give you more exposure to prospective followers. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes they will put it so low that you see on your insights, right?
It's horrible,
It is quite bad sometimes. So one of the things I can recommend is definitely to try, like, I think email, to build an email list. So that's why I also recommend to do blogs, or at least external content that people can actually link to. So what I realized is, well, when I did ARCHLOGBOOK, I didn't have the intention to do a blog. It wasn't like a priority. But after posting 1 season of ARCHLOGBOOK, I wanted to try something new. I also wanted to have like some sort of central hub for information. So that actually got me to do the website. And I think it exponentially increased from there, because I had a mailing list growing. I had Telegram channel. I think these 2 channels combined actually helps me to retain or actually update the followers who may not be looking at Instagram to find updates. So that it is one of the drivers of traffic
I do
generation
remember actually
to your
joining
site
your
or to your
Telegram.
Instagram. Yeah, I mean, and I will admit that the Telegram channel is very
Yeah.
quiet now. So, I think, but it does have a lot of potential because Telegram doesn't control the content feed that you
Fully, it's
post,
a message.
and it
You're
also
in a group and
and it is a message, and I think it also allows for URL links to be posted directly. So that is also one advantage of having other platforms to share
yeah,
content. So making the content is one thing, but also sharing the content is another ball game altogether.
fully.
And as content creators to be, or those listening, right, who are interested in content creation, they also need to understand the mechanics of the different platforms, and also to take the advantage of the different platforms. So content distribution, that is one key area that I had to learn myself, and I think I can share that like email marketing is very good. I mean, you need to have an emailing list, and then periodically you can actually just update what new posts you have created, or even sell your products. So that also got some sort of income as well as traffic.
Yeah.
And a lot of things, so basically a lot of things that are not taught in schools, like business, like a business
Oh
mindset,
man,
it all comes into play.
I
And it's very important and very
the
interesting.
moment I started ARCHEtea is the moment I started to explore stuff. I wasn't business minded. I didn't think about passive income before. I didn't think about doing all this sort of content that I had on ARCHEtea. But the moment you do something like that and you're willing to change and you're willing to put yourself out there, is the moment you begin to have these ideas and you start to develop it. Even if you're going to go quiet for a bit, just like you are doing right now, you are working on something that is quality, that will have people stick around and more people come. And now you just brought up a really interesting fact. I thought about Telegram or even a Discord, which to scale, who's done by Sana, I'm sure you follow her, is a really interesting community. My fear was always that I'm going to ask people to download it because it's not really that famous over here in this region using Telegram and Discord. So I was always skeptical of telling people about it, but people wouldn't join because they need to download the application to stay in touch. And people really just like to click a button to reach your content or to do something. So I was afraid of doing that, but that's a really interesting point. You want to kind of reach them in another direction because of Instagram's algorithms. So yeah, fully.
Yeah, actually quite curious to know because does the country use WhatsApp or Telegram? Like, you say Telegram is
No,
not
no.
being widely used, right?
Telegram is available. It's just that people don't use it often. You know, it's not popular.
I think ever since the ever since the WhatsApp, I think there was some privacy
Yeah,
issues or like
yeah,
concerns. I think most of the I'm in Singapore, right? So in Asia, so a lot of them actually trying to move over to Telegram.
yeah,
And I think Telegram has a lot of potential, because it's trying to do a lot of things actually. So I think it's important to give you with insight, right? Give insight about Telegram, why I think Telegram is the best
sure.
way to go instead of Discord. Discord has so many channels. So firstly, Discord is so hard to use. I feel that it's hard to use. Even for a first time user, I think having the idea of many channels, many places to go, many notifications is quite not really user friendly. But if you're using Telegram channel, it's only one channel,
Yeah,
and I think having one channel alone is good enough. And so basically, what the functions are on Telegram, there's like polls. You can run polls. There's more than 4 answers.
yeah,
There's there is live chat like Discord. There is live video chat. There is a lot of things. You can send files. You can send links. You can embed URLs. You can embed videos. So there's so much things to do. I think I also want to explore using Telegram more often because I feel that there's no algorithm there,
yeah,
and the followers can also comment directly as well. So you can post like a post, and then each of the posts in the Telegram channel has a comment section. So it's actually they're trying to be it's a hybrid of like, Instagram and also as like Discord.
yeah,
So they're trying to be the best of
yeah,
both worlds. And I think for a content creator like myself, I feel that that is a good platform to start at least building a community there. Actually, I don't know the word
yeah.
community. I think it's not yeah, the word community is it's like a buzzword. Yeah, I feel that, it's just a matter of like, sharing content that brings value. And then I think I don't want to force the interactions,
Yeah.
It's not actually very tiring to, be the community leader
Yeah.
and to get
Oh my
conversation
God,
going. And
for example, because I see Sana who's done that Discord, and I haven't seen any other Discord that was really this well organized, to be honest. And
mm,
sometimes she just disappears for a while and then comes back, and she's like, "Man, I'm a bit exhausted. I'm trying to work things out," and I'm always like, "You fully have the right to, because you genuinely like
yes.
built a community where people actually
Mm,
interact." I mean, interaction is important because you get to network with people, whether it's in your own country or people from outside, which I think is really useful, because networking is like one of the most important things to do post graduation or even during grad school. Um, so yeah, I mean, controlling this community isn't easy, and when it comes to me and you, for example, I think for us, because we're the people who are responsible for these communities alone, it's very difficult. If you don't have the time and energy to do it, it's probably going to be horrible.
I mean, I'll admit that I don't have a community. I don't think it's my
Yeah,
priority to have a community per se, like in the very definition of a
yeah,
community, right? But I think I would just want to say that I'm still learning. I think I'm not the best. I think Sana is a great inspiration for those who are interested in creating
yeah,
communities. She's done a lot. And I think I will applaud her for that. But I mean, for myself, I wouldn't see it as a priority per se to create a community and then to be there every day, or like to create the conversations.
exactly.
I think for actually it really depends on what the community is about. And I think for myself, I feel that I haven't really narrowed down what my community would be if there is
Yeah,
one. And I think that is something I'm working on as well. I would say it's not a community, but like I don't want it to be a community, like like in the very definition of it. I want it to be an avenue to
yeah,
talk. That's all I want. Basically, if anybody feels that they need to ask questions, or that's the place to
yeah,
do it. And I wouldn't be angry if you don't come and engage with me, subsequently. So I think that is what I'm trying to work towards. More like an avenue and platform to talk and to discuss if you want to. And there's no hard feelings of like
yeah,
joining and leaving the community. I said I wouldn't mind if like somebody just comes in for a short while and then just leaves. And then so it's not about the numbers in the
of
community as
course.
well. I think, yeah, I also understand the appeal of communities, like, and also how it can drives you to sell your products more and then to
Of
get
course.
money. So yeah, that being said, I think I wouldn't. I'm still exploring. Yeah, basically I'm still exploring. And I think either Discord, Telegram, email marketing, all these platforms are
Okay.
there, and it also requires a lot of effort.
Yeah, that goes back to us being like doing this individually. It's very exhausting for
Mm,
us to think about all of this stuff at the same time and to work on it, because you can have a million ideas. Because I usually get this like creative rush at like midnight where I just start typing down like a note for a site visit or like an entertaining video, and then I would end up not doing it because I either don't
mm.
have the energy to do so, or like I'm busy doing something else. So yeah,
Actually, that's a problem because it's like there are things that we do, but we can't. Either it's maybe confidentiality issues for
mm,
myself. I think I cannot share what I'm doing for my
yeah.
day job. But I'm trying also to see how can I actually, like maybe make it in a different context.
I
Like,
maybe I can
yeah.
suggest something, because you've done something that's very
Mm,
interesting a while ago, which is you take a picture while you're walking through a garden or whatever, and you just post this guardrail, and you say why is it like positioned in this way, and people would answer you. And I thought that was really interesting. So maybe if you
mm,
like go into detail without showing where you are, because that's what I'm doing currently using my stories. I would like get a closer shot of the block, a closer shot of the gypsum board, a closer shot of the glass without showing where I am, and the confidentiality of your company, obviously.
all right. I think we have talked a lot of things. I think it's very interesting conversations. I think I wish I had more time to talk to you, but yeah, definitely looking forward to what you're up to, especially with your course and your other endeavors. And I mean, thank you for the time you spent with
Thank you
us.
for having me, man. I really enjoyed talking to you. I wish I reached out to you way longer before that, so I could get to know you. But we'll obviously stay in contact, hopefully. And I wish you the best for the podcast. And I'm glad that I was finishing the season, so my character main event, Omar, actually made sense finally.
Yeah, I'm also very excited for the next phase of ARCHLOGBOOK. So for those who are like desperately waiting for my content, don't worry. I think by the time this podcast comes out, you will have known what my plans are and what is happening.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
Omar.
you, Gabriel.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.